Hello, everyone. It's Joe and Darren over at Urban Hillsides Real Estate. Another dose of real estate reality. Darren, how you doing over there at your house?
Doing great. Loving this weather. I always talk about the weather when you ask me that question. It's so relevant
Yeah.
in my life. I love the nestling and the cold weather. It works for me.
Well, I know when it gets cold, Gab likes to cook. We
Yeah.
get very homey.
Right?
Get
That's
very homey.
great. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Well,
Cool.
look, guys. So we are coming from, as you can see, our houses. We didn't go on location, and we're going to talk about a couple things today. First off, Darren, congrats on 2229 Oak Glen Place. We got that lease. That was pretty quick. And
Yes,
we found a great tenant, I think.
it was a good tenant. I think it's going to work for both parties. It always has to in these situations because
Right.
on a lease, there's a whole nother layer on a lease. You're not just selling and you're done. It's a relationship. So you're really
Yes.
evaluating it for the longer term relationship component.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we've had some really good success doing that.
The other thing we're going to talk about is the market and use a couple examples locally and see what's going out there. We might see some trends. Also, we're going to talk about another creative financing solution called a portable mortgage. See what that's about, find that definition, and compare it to some other things that we've seen, again, as trends happening in real estate to make things more mobile on both sides for sellers and buyers.
Yeah.
And finally, we'll end off on Deal of the Week, which is an Eagle Rock. So let's get into it. Darren, let me just go ahead and pull up my screen here, and we're going to look at, let's see here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oops. Let's see. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. I can hear the dogs
Oh,
too that are having fun in the background there.
yes. I apologize for that, guys.
Yeah, it is
We're
what
gonna
it
try to
is,
get
man.
through this.
Okay.
All right. So look, here we are. We're going to look at the example of 90026, and I'll try to blow it up a bit. But this is the most recent info. We can look here. Median list price: 1,499 and $900. You can see the trend. It is lowering down. It used to be, let's see, back October 10th, 1,639. So it's gone down. Median price of new listings, that's popped up a little, but again, still trending down overall, 1,399,000. Per square foot, we don't pay much attention to. Average days on market, we do see it has risen. It's gone to 120 days based on November 14th. So there you go. That's a big one.
That's a
Median
hard
days on
one.
market.
That's a hard
Yeah,
one for a lot of sellers to digest. Yeah.
yeah.
Go.
Look at the median. The median is 70, so that brings it into some better reality. But again, the trend is up on that. Price decreased. 31% of homes decreased in their price. Price increase very small, a 2% increase. Relisted 22%. You can see that line right there. It's gone up steadily. And then inventory, it's dipped down a bit right now at 90026, it's 59. And then median rent, that has trailed down as well. We can see here Friday, August 1, 6,300 the median rent was, and then now we're at 42.45. So pretty significant drop there since August.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to that, man?
Man, they're all moving towards buyer and tenant favorability. These are very difficult conversations to have with a lot of sellers.
Right.
Even the old just, hey, let's rent it, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
let me tell you the reality of that. These stats are showing down 20% or 30% on rent, and they're real. We're out there doing everything we can to maximize the return and anything we can think of. But, it's just a tougher market. It's a balanced market. And the hardest thing, what I found myself discussing today,
Mm.
was, at least in the past, Joe, and I know
Mm.
um, this is newer for you. At least in the past, you'd get a lot of people, and you'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, this worked, that didn't work." We spoke to 100 people. It's
Yeah.
nowadays it's like, well, we
Yeah.
spoke with 3,
Few and
and
far between.
that person's comment may be relevant and may not. So,
Yeah.
man, you're relying on the experience of an agent, but it's still a guessing game on who's going to
Yeah.
show up and what'll be most important to them. So,
Yeah.
it's a little more of a battle out there. But we're certainly up for that battle. There's we've definitely shown that over a long
Yeah.
history here. So, but these are the numbers. And there is a time where people need to see these numbers. They're talking about a December rate cut. The last 2 didn't have a big impact, but we'll see. It's kind of where it's all at.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at another zip. Let's go 90039, and let's see what that looks like. View report. And again, this is based on houses. So it says here, let me just read this. Let's see. The market remains in a relative stasis in terms of sales to inventory. Prices have not been moving higher for several weeks. However, inventory is sufficiently low to keep us in the seller's market zone. So watch changes in the MAI. I believe that's market.
Right. So
It's their market index, market action index, right?
you'll get variations from zip code to zip code. And I don't think we need to go over the details in this one, but
Yeah.
obviously in the 3.9, the price point's higher, but the median's actually lower. So there's a bigger gap. There's some higher priced homes, but there's also some lower priced homes. But they're all trending in a similar direction.
Well, as you're saying here, yeah, median list price down, median price of new listings down, average days on market slightly dropped, median days on market slightly dropped, price decreased 33%. So I think that's the biggest number, right, that stands out. And then the relist number, 23% relisting going up.
Cool, man.
All right, well, there we go. We'll just finish with that. The next thing, let's see, that we'll talk about is, I guess, portable mortgages.
Yeah.
Talk to me, man. Just to kind of encapsulate this, before we started this, we were kind of going over, checking off some of the things that we've talked about to make this market more mobile. So last week it was the idea of a 50-year mortgage. We've talked about changes in capital gains. What else? And now we've got this portable mortgage. What do you think of this? And
Yeah, man. Those are the 2 main things really at this point. And it does. You're right. It all falls in the same category of kind of reducing the stagnation in the market. Not only are things coming down a bit, but the movement of housing is not happening. It's very low volume of sales. And the housing market has so many tangential industries that are stimulated by houses selling a lot. It really is a big boost to the economy, and houses not selling is a reduction. So yes, we talked about capital gains. That bill was passed in the 90s, 250, 500, supposed to be enough to sell your whole house, primary residence, without having to pay taxes. That number still being where it's at, keeping people in their house right now because they don't want to pay a ton of capital gains. Another one, transfer tax. We have great success with that in California, I must say. Older people.
All right, 55 plus. All right.
Yeah, if they bought their house 50 years ago and they have a $1,500 property tax bill per month, would stay in their house because they didn't want to buy a house a third of the size, a fourth of the size, and pay 10 times the amount in property taxes. Good for California for that. Kept those older people mobile, freed up those houses. So now, something I had not experienced in my career, mortgage rates have been, in my 20 plus year career, between maybe on the very low 8s at the high end, and usually they were between 8 and 4. They went all the way down into the 2s during COVID. So we use the term people bought the rate, and people are staying in their house and they're stagnant and they're not mobile because of their rate. So this idea of a portable mortgage, not unique, exists other places in the world. And we didn't do a deep dive on that, but it's pretty simple to think, well, I can take my mortgage with me to another house. Are there complications? Yeah. Absolutely. There are complications. Probably has to be a primary residence. The lender won't make as much money. The lender has to make some money to have an incentive. But, you know, if you have a 2.9, a 3.2% mortgage, it might be enough to help you. You might be willing to jump through the hoops if you can transfer that mortgage to another property. So I think it's great that it's being looked at. I don't know where all the details are going to fall into place. Definitely much more positive, it looks like, than the issues we talked about in our last one about the 50-year mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Cool.
as you're saying, it'll allow older people to move on, downsize without the pain of taxes.
In this case, not just older
And
people. I mean, the
yeah,
other two really relate to people who have a ton of equity over years of ownership and want, a transfer to downsize. This could
oh,
be
you're right.
anyone who bought a lower interest rate mortgage, during
Right.
COVID years.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how that materializes. Finally, we're going to talk about Deal of the Week. And Deal of the Week is in Eagle Rock. So let me tell you about it. Welcome to your classic California bungalow. It's tucked into one of Eagle Rock's most loved pockets, set on a tree-lined street and surrounded by local cafes, markets, and creative spaces. Let's see, one of the most clicked listings. It just hit the market. Again, classic 1920s bungalow. It's on a 7,100 square foot lot, and it's under 1.05 million, 1,050,000. It's 2 bedroom, 1 bath, original built-ins, refinished hardwood floors, solar panels and EV charging ready, detached garage with creative potential, and room to expand or add an ADU, and in parentheses, buyer to verify. So if you want the full story on that and you'd like to see it, just contact us. We're happy to help you out, and just reply, and we'll get the information out to you and talk. All right. That is it for this edition. Darren, have a great weekend, and we'll see
Yeah.
you guys next week.
We may
Yeah.
not have a video next week, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Oh, that's true. That's true. We'll see you the
Yeah.
following week. All
Yeah.
right, guys. Have a great one. Take care.
Bye.